I think the worst thing about coming out for me is that it took a long time for me to do it. I didn't realize at first when I was growing up I was gay until someone gently prodded me. I think one day I was talking about something and really passionate, and the person I was talking to was like, "Do you think this means so much to you because you are gay?" And at first I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way, I'm not gay. But like the more I thought about it and the more that I just remembered things from my childhood, I realized that the universe was sending smoke signals, pointing me toward my fate of lesbianism a long time ago. Things like I love the pink Power Ranger, and I was just really jealous that Topanga and Corey were together, and I didn't know why. But then as I started thinking about all of these things, I started realizing that my sexuality was different than a lot of my peers. But by the time I realized that, I didn't know what to do with that, and I wasn't okay with it. I grew up in a very strong Christian home, a very conservative Christian home. And in my church, no one had to tell me that they thought that being gay was an abomination or a sin, because people just said the most hurtful and nasty things about it, just like off the cuff, using slurs and putting people down. And so I internalized a lot of that. And I didn't feel like that I could tell anyone what was going on in my personal life or with me. So I just thought that I was different. I thought that I was unique, that no one knew what I was going through, and then it would be like that forever. I don't feel like that today, but I feel like I did have to work through a lot personally. I had to come to a place where I accepted myself for who I was, not my sexuality per se, but just coming to a place of utter acceptance of who I was becoming, and who I could be. And that took a long time, and I think that it just took a lot with talking with people and dispelling stereotypes and rumors and just prejudices that I had towards gay people, and just taking opportunities as they came. I had the great fortune to be a summer intern at Outright Vermont this past summer. And Outright is a queer youth agency here in Burlington that works with youth aged 13 to 22. And I just took that opportunity and ran with it. But I think I should step back a little bit and talk about me coming to terms with my sexuality. I started realizing when I was in high school, probably about 14, that I was attracted to women. And it scared the shit out of me. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. And so there was just a lot of years that I spent beating myself up. Just really upset. Like, I had a huge faith in God at that time. And I was just like, God, why would you do this to me? Like, I'm such a loyal follower. I do everything right. I'm a leader. And I didn't really understand that it was a part of who I was, and that I feel now that God would love me no matter what. But I think when I started getting out of high school and into college age, I started making decisions for myself and thinking for myself. And so, as cliche as it is, freshman year of college, I decided to come out to myself. I went to a small, private, conservative Christian university, and it was really difficult to try to live out on campus, just the climate that the campus was at. But I found a great group of friends, very supportive, and just at the same place I was. And so I remember, I think it was February 16th, I decided that I was gay and I was okay with it. And I remember sending like a postcard or a card home to my parents saying, today is the day that I officially came out. And I remember them putting it on a bookshelf or the mantelpiece or something. And when I came home, they were really proud of it. And they just told me that they loved me and just loved who I was. And that was amazing. But I don't think I actually started living an out lifestyle until my sophomore year of college. And then going through that. And it's always a weird experience trying to navigate whether or not you think that people know that you're out or have a premonition or something like that. But there'd be just weird coincidences and stories. Like when I decided to finally come out to my dad, he was the last person in my family that I didn't tell. Sorry, Dad. But I was just really nervous about it. I didn't know what he would say. I didn't know what he would do. And so I called him, and I think he could tell that there was something I wanted to talk to him about. And so I waited, and I was really nervous, and my mouth was just getting dry, and I was clammy. And so I said, "Dad, I have something to tell you." He was like, "Okay." And then I just kind of blurted out like, "Dad, I'm a lesbian." And he was like, "It's okay, like, your stepmom and I love you, and we're always gonna love you, and we probably won't agree with you on everything. Scratch that, we probably won't agree on anything, but we still love you, and we still want you around and to be part of our life." And then he paused and was like, "And besides, we've been reading your blog," and I'm really out on my blog. So just things like that happen in my life that make me realize that there isn't a worse part for me about coming out. I think that I'm proud of who I am, and I would rather be okay with it than just feeling bad all the time or having people tell me that how I'm living isn't right. My advice to any teen, especially in middle school or just coming into high school about coming out, is to not do anything that you're uncomfortable with. If it doesn't feel right, don't come out to someone. I think that we all have something inside of us, whether you think it's just your conscience or an inner voice that's telling you like, do this, or don't do this. I think that's when I've actually taken the time to listen to that, I've seen a lot of good things happen. But I think a lot of my story is if you learn how to love and accept yourself, which is a crazy concept and it's really big and scary, you become okay with coming out. It's hard and it's really scary, and sometimes your parents don't have a great reaction, but I would tell you to surround yourself with friends that love you exactly for who you are. Find a great network, a good community, maybe some older mentor figures that can help you through this time in your life. And I know that there's been a lot of people recently that have taken their life because of where they're at personally and with their sexuality, but you have so much to live for, and I want you to stick around so that you can have a full life and just be here. I believe I have a huge background with internalizing hatred and homophobia that I think stems from being a Christian. There's a lot of things that I can pinpoint in times in my life where people have, just even joking, have said some really mean and hurtful comments, and I think that I definitely always took that to heart. I let people say things and didn't do anything about it, and then felt like it was my fault. Like, why couldn't I stand up for myself? Why couldn't I be proud of who I was? And I did beat myself up for a number of years. When I was in high school, I wasn't okay with my sexuality, and so I would, this sounds terrible, but I would go home from school, I would finish my homework, and then I would lock myself in my room and read my Bible all the time. And I could pinpoint to you every single verse in the Bible that even remotely mentions homosexuality, and I knew them backwards and forwards. I could tell you exactly what page they were on. And so I feel like I did that for a long time, and I felt like no one would ever understand how I felt. I felt like I was wrong. What I was doing was wrong, and who I was wrong. And I know a lot of people do that, especially that come from a faith background. I think that by the time your kid comes out to you, they've known that they've been gay for years, and they've been struggling with how to tell parents, how to tell friends, how to tell grandparents. And it's a huge insecurity for some people, and it's something that a lot of people just have a lot of fear and anxiety around. But I don't feel like that anymore, which is awesome. Do I feel like I was made in God's image? That is a good question. I think I'm going through this now. My biggest belief at this point in my life is that God is genderless and God is formless. And so whether or not we were made in God's image, I don't think that we should distinctly separate that into male and female. I think if there is a higher power out there that made all of this wonderful earth, we're patterned after the generosity and love. But I'm just not sure where gender comes into play. Let's see, a strange experience I had about coming out was when I had this huge crush on this girl and we worked together, and it was kind of awkward all the time because I didn't really know what she felt about me, if she knew that I was out or not. And so one day we were standing in a line, probably working or doing something, and this kid came up to us and was like, "Are you two girlfriends?" And immediately I freaked out and was like, can she tell? Can he tell? Like, what's going on? And so my friend started laughing, just thinking it was a really weird question. Meanwhile, I'm blushing and sweating and my hands are just shaking. And I was like, we're friends. We're girls and we're friends, but we're not girlfriends. But really, I wanted to be, more than friends with this girl. And so it was just really awkward. And the kid kept asking us questions. And so that was probably one of the strangest experiences I've had. Have I had any experiences in my church coming out to people? I have. I worked at a Bible camp for a couple summers, and a lot of my friends from my childhood, especially from when I was in high school, are in the Christian faith. And there is a large contingent that don't know that I'm actively living an out lifestyle in the gay community or the queer community. So it's really strange when I have Bible-banging Christian friends that, like just recently, I posted an article about how Maryland was moving toward marriage equality, and one of my friends asked me on Facebook, which Facebook is just an awful place to have a conversation, so you believe in same-sex marriage? And my response was, yes, I'm a proponent of same-sex marriage, but I would love to have a dialogue with you off of Facebook if you'd like to. And so I feel like I have a lot of experiences where my deeply conservative friends from church or the Bible camp, they want to know what I believe, but they think that I'm going to come out to them, and then they think that they're going to have ground to try to micromanage my life. So with something like that comment and then my response, I just had to be honest of what I believed, and that I didn't feel like I needed to come out to them. I think when people genuinely are interested and concerned about my well-being, that's when I come out to them. But if they just want to know just because, I don't come out to them. I think I owe that to myself after all I've gone through, all of the hurt that I've kept inside from my church.